Hello there and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to talk you through my tips for living on your own and moving out of care, so I hope you enjoy. For those of you who don't already know, I moved out of care in 2019, I believe, officially, because I was under a supported lodgings agreement with my foster carers, which I will come to throughout this video. So basically my first bit of advice is to find out what your pathway care plan is, whether that be you're going to go into supported lodgings and stay with your foster carers, or whether you're going to move out into your own accommodation like a lot of other people have done. It's entirely your choice. Don't make anybody make that decision for you. Only you can make that decision. So think about what you would like to do. My next thought to give you is, obviously, once you've made that decision, let your foster carers know if that's what you want to do. So, for instance, if you want to do supported lodgings, let them know and then they can get that all organised for you through your aftercare worker, if you like. But then if you are going to move out onto your own, there's a few things I want to give you advice-wise that basically I did when I moved into this flat that I'm in now. So for me, it was a case of, okay, what is going to be in my flat when I move in? For me, obviously, it was slightly different because I decided I was going to rent my own little flat. Because I was earning enough money through the job I was doing, I was able to move into this flat and furnish it, because basically this flat was empty when I moved in, so there wasn't a single piece of furniture, and I had to kind of work out what I needed and what I didn't need. Obviously it helped a little bit that my foster carers were going away and some of the furniture they didn't need, but then I made a list of everything I needed. So if I still had that list to this day, I would show you, but I do not. So I basically made a list of everything I knew I might need, or everything that I needed in order to live in the flat. So things like a fridge, a cooker, you know, they may already be installed in the flat you move into. It is something you need to check before you actually move into that accommodation. My next bit of advice is, obviously, you need to work out what budget you're going to set yourself. I'm not saying you have to literally write it all down like I do, but think about, you know, food expenses, bills. If they are included in your rent, that's fine, but they might not be. Just keep an eye on, you know, wherever you're moving into. Just check that either you can pay them or they're being paid for you. In some situations they might be paid for you. I don't know, you'll have to check. But for me as well, the main priority is your food. So obviously you need to work out how much it's roughly going to cost you to eat while you're living in your flat that you're in now. That's one thing that I definitely, you know, didn't think about massively when I moved in, but obviously now I'm more aware of how much I spend on food, so that kind of helped. But rather than me sit here and tell you exactly everything that I did, I wanted to give you a few tips and tricks, and that's something that I put into place when I started moving in and also when I've been living here as well. My first tip is actually stay in contact with your foster carers, because you would be surprised the amount of people that don't. So my first bit of advice is keep in touch with them. Know that they're on the end of that phone if you need them anytime. You know, get their contact details if you don't already know them, and keep in touch with them. My next option obviously is budgeting. It is your choice whether you wish to do this or not. I'm not going to force it upon you, but if you are relying on a certain amount of income, you need to think about the main things you're going to need. So food, bills, like I say, depending on if they're being paid or not, but also just anything in general that you'll need. So whether it's toiletries, whether it's bus fares to go to a job, or, you know, anything like that, make sure you know roughly how much you need and budget that way. Think about your future. Do you want to do any other different kinds of employment? Do you have any goals for the future? That kind of thing is always handy to know, you know, within yourself, but also you could make a little note of it in a notebook or something and then just refer back to it. Bills, obviously, if you have to set up your own bills, look for the best deals. I went to about 4 different energy companies, and I think I went to 2 different internet companies just to find out the prices, and I went with the one that I knew was going to be the best. And my last bit of feedback, I suppose, is don't be afraid to ask for help. if you're stuck with something, ask someone that can help you, whether that be your landlord, your foster carers, your aftercare worker. Ask for help, whether you need it or whether you don't, whether you don't want to ask them. They can only offer you advice and they will help where they can. My next kind of input, if you like, into this video are just general things that I did when I moved in. So obviously, hopefully by the time you've moved out of your placement, you'll know a few independent skills like, I don't know, doing the washing up, etc. But if you don't know those things, these are the things that you're going to kind of encounter when you move in. So things like cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry, things that like seem like they're everyday things, but things that I know that when you move into somewhere you need these skills. So you'll need to know how to put certain things in the oven, and that's just like a generalized thing. Obviously if you do meals from scratch like I do now, then you'll need to know how to prepare everything, but that's kind of going a bit over the top at the moment. So basically, work out how you do your cooking, work out how you do your cleaning, and laundry. If you're not sure how to do laundry, try and find someone that can show you now. Even if it's working a washing machine. You'd be surprised the amount of buttons on a washing machine that can confuse you. Doesn't entitle to me, doesn't relate to me in some ways, but I've known a lot of people that cannot work a washing machine because of all the buttons on it. But my last kind of tip and trick for you is regarding your important documents. Now I'm going to use this as an example. I have a bigger version of this for my important documents, and I keep it in a secure place in my flat. Now, passport, things like that you don't want to carry around every day, get a lockable box or get a filing system or something that you can put them in and know where they are, but not have them on show. So obviously this isn't normally out, this is normally hidden, but I have a lockable box that I use for all the important things that I know nobody needs to be able to read and see. So that was just there for reference. But no, my advice to you is, if you're not sure about anything when you move in, ask the questions, and if there is anything else you need to know, let me know in the comments below to this video and I will answer them as best as I can. And I'm always happy to be contacted regarding questions. I've been there, I've moved out of a household that I was living in for I think 15 years in the end, so I do know how you feel, and it is okay to not feel prepared. But all I can say is keep your head held high and you've got this. And if you feel lonely in the evenings, find somebody you can talk to. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope my tips and tricks have helped. I will leave a little list down below of all the things I've mentioned in this video so that you kind of can see it written out. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you soon. Bye for now.